Hi, everyone. Hello, welcome. I'm Todd Nauck, professional comic book artist, here to hang out with you during this coronavirus social distancing time. Many of us across the US and in different parts of the world, almost the whole world, we're just kind of being encouraged to stay at home. So I know there are a lot of people who are not able to go to work. We have a lot of kids not able to go to school. So sometimes, oops, sorry. Sorry about that. Did not expect that speaker to go off. We'll try to edit this out for the replay. My apologies. So again, Todd Nauck here for the coronavirus post-it pop art challenge. So if you're at home, not able to go to work, not able to go to school, this is a chance to kind of hang out and draw with me. Now, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've been drawing comics for a lot of years, so my art skills might be a little different than yours, but that's okay. Draw at your skill level. Hopefully you'll learn maybe a tip or trick through my instruction here, and draw with whatever you have available. I'm drawing on Post-its with my professional art materials. You don't have to have those. Draw on any piece of paper that you have that is appropriate to draw on, and draw with whatever tools you have. Pencils, colored pencils, crayons, watercolor, whatever you have. Just have fun creating. So today we're drawing Mysterio. I drew one of my first Spider-Man stories was Mysterio. It's in this new collection here, the Spider-Man Mysterio versus Mysterio trade paperback. You can read my friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in his Iron Spider uniform versus Mysterio. 3 different Mysterios. Spoiler alert, 3 different Mysterios. I won't explain all those Mysterios. You'll have to read the story. This story ran in the 2006 Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series. Issues 11 through 13, written by my dear friend and co-collaborator Peter David, legendary writer Peter David. So, so I know my way around drawing a Mysterio or two. So let's flip the camera around and let's get drawing. Pardon me as I adjust the rig. Just move my clamp back around. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me plug the phone back in. There we go. I'll try to respond to some comments or questions if I'm able to. But as always, a lot of my focus goes into the drawing. So I'm going to start with my trusty rusty Uni Kuratoga 0.3 mechanical pencil with HB lead to start off here. So this is kind of a turquoise colored post-it note. I thought it might look cool for Mysterio, so we're going to start with his basic head shape. Even though we're not going to see really much of his head, so I start with a circle, and then I bring the jaw down. So that gives us a basic head for Mysterio. I want to know where his body is, because Mysterio is a big fishbowl dome, which Spidey is always teasing Mysterio about his fishbowl dome. He calls him fishbowl head and all other sorts of funny nicknames regarding fish bowls. And then he has a big floppy cape. So it covers up a lot of his body. But what I like to do when I'm drawing is I want to know exactly where the figure is underneath all that. So when I put all those costume elements together, they fit correctly on Mysterio. Because if I just started drawing a circle and a cape, it might not give the sense that there's a man underneath. And so the proportions might get weird, or the shapes might get weird and wonky. Weirder and wonkier than what I'd want them to be. So I start with who's the person underneath. Now from here, I can build everything that we need for Mysterio. So I'm going to kind of rough in the dome. So we're going to have this big circular shape that goes over his head. This is just to get an idea. These are rough, scratchy stages just to get the foundation built. We're gonna start with the foundation, then build the details on top of that. So I get really sketchy at first, because this is just me thinking through the puzzle. Got to think through the puzzle. Not looking for perfect lines at this time. Just getting the shapes down. So we got this dome that'll go over it and around his head, and then his cape goes around the bottom of that dome. It's all foldy and floppy. So we start to draw these folds in. And he's got these weird little clasps on his cape with these kind of eye shapes. So we're on each shoulder. So I'm going to put these over here. And then the cape goes over his shoulder. Over his shoulders. So, and then we have the eye shapes. Kind of looks like the CBS logo. A little bit. These actually have eyelids on the eye shapes. But you kind of got that football shape with a circle inside. Then he's got his green checkered bodysuit, but we're not going to see much of that. But I'll rough it in. So a lot of this is going to be, a lot of this here, how we're going to render the dome is going to be handled in the color stage, which will be hopefully maybe create some interesting looking effects. So that's pretty scratchy. We got a lot of shapes going on here, but it's stuff we can work with. So all this here will be kind of shadowed out because we can't quite see the man underneath the dome, but we kind of get a hint that there's a face underneath there. So next up is the inking stage. This is a pretty quick pencil sketch stage, but we're going to come in with the pens now. My Pigma Micron pens are the ones I like to use, but you're welcome to use whatever pens or tools. If you want to just do type pencil or just go straight color, that's cool too. So I'm going to use these inking pens to start putting in the final clean lines. Since I know where all my sketchy lines are, I can now start with my clean lines. Now what I like to do oftentimes is work foreground to background. We have a lot of stuff layered up here. And it's easier for me to start with a foreground. So these eye clasps, cape clasps, not cake clasps. I almost said cake clasps. These are two really odd words to be saying together. Cape clasps. That's almost as hard as saying Irish wristwatch. Try saying Irish wristwatch 3 times fast. I can't even say it once. Irish wristwatch. Cape clasps. Sounds like a lake in New England. So now we have the cape now that can go behind those clasps. I think I'm realizing I'm not a big fan of the word clasps. So now I just start to rough it or ink in the folds of the cape. I think about how the cape drapes from one side of the shoulder to the other side and how it meets in the middle. And I've done a lot of study in drawing folds of clothing, looking at real life capes and drapery to kind of get a sense of how I would translate all these shapes with my lines. So so this is not my first, and I've drawn Mysterio many times over the course of my career. So I'm kind of used to drawing these capes, especially his cape. So if this is a little challenging for you, don't worry about it. Keep trying, keep having fun. We learn as we go. A lot of my learning has been through trial and error, just experimenting, learning from my mistakes, learning from the failures. Because the most important thing is to at least try. Because if we don't try and we don't make a mistake, then how do we learn? So, and oftentimes whatever mistake I think I made, people don't even see it as a mistake. So I just kind of sit back and just not worry about it. Just keep trying, keep learning, just kind of take in the information. So there we have his eye clasps. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that in this video, but it might be quite a few, so please bear with me. Let's draw the eyes in these diamond shapes here. See how I avoided saying the word clasps? Get the eye shape, and then we have an eyelid. Very thin eyelids. And then we get the circle inside. So it looks like an eyeball there. And we'll do the same on the other side. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and put in that checkered pattern of his green bodysuit underneath here. We'll just get a little bit of that here at the bottom. Classic Steve Ditko Mysterio. Now, time for the big dome here. So what I'm going to do is use my circle template. Circle templates are an artist's friend. In fact, I don't know if I like the size of those circles. Let's go to my other circle template. Yeah, this size circle here is much better. So I'm going to adjust this right near the top of his head, kind of utilizing the guideline I put in. And now I'm able to get a nice clean circle. Now I've used things in my past as DVDs or CDs for certain circles. I've used coffee mugs. I've used dinner plates. And when I was drawing on a big image, I had to draw a really big circle. So I've used a dinner plate. As a comic book artist, we use whatever tools we need to get the job done. So if you don't have a circle template and you want to draw a perfect circle, look for something that's about the size that you need that you can use. That has a nice safe edge to it, like a mug or a cup. And you can then just go around the perimeter of it. Like I could take my watercolor mug and I could do this, put it down and then go, takes a little practice. You might want to try on a scratch sheet of paper before that to make sure you can get the angle just right. Or I could use like a coaster. Like these are the coasters from Galaxy's Edge here. If I had something, I could just use this coaster to go around it to create a nicer clean circle. So drafting tools are important to us comic book artists. So I use French curves, circle templates, ellipse templates, etc. Okay, so now we can erase all these extra pencil lines. All those scratchy pencil lines, they're not needed anymore. Now I might want to keep some of Mysterio underneath here. That head shape, I don't want it completely gone, so I'm using my kneaded art there. I want that as a guideline for my colors, because I want to make sure that I still have a silhouette of a man underneath there, like he's behind. Do any of y'all in your home have those showers with the frosted glass where you can tell that there's somebody behind it, but you can't see the detail? You can just see a shadow figure behind it. It's kind of like that sort of mentality, like frosted glass. Art tricks to render this out, and hopefully it turns out in a cool way. So first we'll start off with coloring his cape. These marker codes for those who are using Copic markers, but you're welcome to use whatever coloring tools you're using. You can pick what, or a green or a yellow that appeals to you. But yeah, color with whatever you have. You certainly don't have to have these Copic markers. They're a bit expensive, so I don't expect everyone to have these, but maybe you have Prismacolor markers, or maybe you have Touch or Arteza, or maybe you have Crayola markers or crayons, or if you're using watercolors, you probably don't want to do watercolor on Post-it because water will just make this Post-it note paper just fall apart. So that probably would turn out to be maybe a bit of a mess. But hopefully if you are using watercolor, you're using a layer in some different highlights, etc. Let's come in with some V04. Now these different shades of purple are very subtle here on this colored paper. Might almost be kind of difficult to see the variation in this video. Hopefully when I post it to Instagram, you'll be able to see some of the variations. Let's go ahead and add some color to his bodysuit. Let's start with a G1 because we can't see a lot of his suit, so we're just going to do one shade of green. On the lower side, some Y13 for the upper part. Maybe kind of a little bit like focus on here. And let's see, we're going to start with some cool gray 4. And we're just going to use these cool grays for some realistic shadows. Just a little bit underneath the cape there. I'm going to go a little lighter to a cool gray 3. And right through the center there, like these are reflective clasps, they putting a little bit of a horizon through the center there. Actually, you know what? I want to beef up that yellow. So I'm going to come in with a little Y08, just for a little more vibrant of a yellow there. Okay. So I'm going to come in with a little cool gray 5. I want some deeper, darker shadows in some of these bottom folds. Like right here around where his neck would be. Coming in with these cuts of color, cuts of gray here, can help create those foldy shapes the way I want. And let's see, sorry about that, gang. And now it's time to color inside here. And I've been thinking about this since I decided to draw Mysterio here on a Post-it. We're going to maybe use some grays on the outside, starting dark gray, moving up to light gray, and then some turquoise and pink colors swirling through here in certain ways. I'm been thinking about what is the best approach to do this. So, yeah, what I think I'm going to do is we're going to start with some pink here. I'm going to use some vibrant colors because we're going to bring in the white colored pencil here. I'm going to consider the texture of the bowl. I'm going to think of like the reflections. The reflections of the bowl. Now, I've looked at things like, you can look up like real life fish bowls or like crystal balls, and you can kind of get an idea of what are some real life reflections that we'll see. And then you can translate that into your line art. So that was some RB13, and this is some BG34. Picking some colors that kind of are similar to the insides of his costume. Pinks to reflect the purples, blue-greens for like the green. I'm going to kind of let these kind of swirl around and remember how I was saying before, trial and error, you kind of experiment as you go? It's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm definitely making this up as I go along. I'm just kind of experimenting. Just trying to putting some shadows here of a face that might be inside. Well, that not might be, we know there's a face inside. But some just really subtle face-like shapes in here. Any place there would be a shadow, like under the chin, under the nose, where the eyes would be, just completely shadowed out, down the cheeks. And then let's go back to some of that pink. Now we're going to come in with some cool gray. We're going to come in with that cool gray 5. We're going to let these colors kind of merge together. We can let these shapes be really organic because it's just all swirling around. Now this is just part one. We're gonna, because his helmet or his dome looks kind of white-ish, it's kind of more of a clear dome, so we often use white in the comics. We're gonna bring in some white pencil here soon, but not just yet. I wanna bring in a little bit of blue here, just a little bit of, we're gonna try some B02. Because Mysterio, as we know, is a master special effects villain. He uses illusion, the magic of illusion, the movie-making magic of illusion, I should say, for his nefarious schemes. A little cool gray 3. Just kind of blending that all together. The face looks kind of, it's kind of amorphous there. It's just kind of like a hint of a face inside there. I do want to put a little more darker gray in the eye area, just because I think it'll make him look creepier. Because it's like there's a sense, it gives him almost a little bit of humanity, but not a lot. So it's like, I sense that there's a humanity there, but it doesn't look, because we can't connect with his eyes, it makes it look a little more nefarious. It looks creepier. I'm really digging this cool gray 6. I'm going to use more of this through here. Makes them look almost more alien. Okay, so now that I've gotten that part done, my next trick, you've seen me use it in the previous videos, is to come in with the cool gray, or not the cool gray, I'm so used to using so many cool grays, my white pencil. This is an Derwent Inktense white pencil, but you can use any brand. And I'm going to color over this with the white. And it's just going to kind of lighten everything up and give us a sense of white here on colored paper. So it's just a matter of just going over everything here. It's going to take all those colors, all those dark grays, and just kind of mute it out just a little bit. I can press down for more of the white pencil in certain areas, which I probably will do. But I'm just doing a light shade right now. We have one more trick here to use on his dome, but right now we'll just focus on the white pencil. First, make sure we get this stage done. Hope y'all are having fun. Hope maybe you're learning something. Now, if you did your illustration on white paper, you probably don't have to do this step necessarily because you've already got all the white going on. You can still color it over the colored parts with white pencil if you want. Be creative. Feel free to experiment. Right now I'm going to put some heavier white spots in certain areas, especially here around the perimeter, because like it's the light hitting the dome. So there would be a brighter highlight. So I'm bearing down a bit harder to get more vibrant white pencil. Going to put a little bit of this white here on the clasps to give them a bit of a shiny texture. Maybe a little bit in the eyeballs here. Maybe a little bit on the underside for a little bit of reflected light. Okay. Just one more layer of overall white just to really kind of, the white really covers up all those colors and those grays to where it makes them ghostly. And that's the kind of the effect that I wanted to go for here, is make that image underneath this dome ghostly, to where you just get a sense. I've created a mystery here. It's like I almost see a face underneath there, but I can't quite. That's what I wanted to go for, because then that leaves the viewer guessing. Okay, so let's do a fade for the background here, and then I'll come in with that finishing move. So we're going to kind of use some dark shades of purple, I think. I'm going to start with the BV25 to start my gradation from dark down to light. So just cutting in some just organic swatches there. You can go perfectly smooth if you want. I like to go a little chunky with my gradation, just because it can create some interesting shapes, some organic shapes, which gives the background some texture. So that was some BV34 I just used, and now some BV11. Almost said 111, but there's only two ones on there. BV11, not BV111. That would be incorrect. Okay. So kind of almost gives like a bit of a cloudy effect, like maybe a bit of a smoky effect, because Mysterio often utilizes smoke and like kind of dry ice effect in his schemes. So let's see. Now I want to use my Uniball Signo white gel pen for the perimeter outline here, so he has some pop off the page. So I'm going to go back to my drafting tools. I'm going to use my circle template. Now, because I used the line to make that black line, I have to go out just a little bit and do this in chunks so I don't cover up my black line. So I'm very cautiously going around the perimeter and adjusting the template as necessary. Now I got to be careful not to smear or smudge the wet ink. I've smudged and smeared a lot of wet ink utilizing the circle template in the past, learned from my mistakes. I don't want that to happen to y'all, especially here when you're on the finishing move. But that helps me give a nice smooth, or at least smoother outline to that big circle than trying to do it freehand. So I will freehand some touch-ups there, and then I can just go around the rest of his cape. And there we go. Now I want to utilize some of this gel pen to create some really bright reflected highlights on his dome. Some really big spots. So I very carefully will color in some oval shapes. Got to kind of have to go slow, coloring over this pencil here to get a nice clean oval shape. Maybe a little bit over on this side, right over a dark area, can give it some pop. Maybe I'll put a little bit of this on his cape clasps and on the eyeballs there, just to give them a little pop too. And that's Mysterio, gang. Let me put my signature on here, the signature and the date. I used up a lot of real estate here drawing Mysterio, so we'll just kind of do it sideways here on the side. There we go. And then today's date. What is today's date? Today is the 20th, right? Yes. March 2020. And there we go. There's Mysterio on a Post-it note. A lot of fun to do. Very fun character to draw because he's such an interestingly shaped guy. So let me flip the camera around and we can chat here to sign off. Let me adjust the rig. There we go. Let me clamp back into the holder thingy. Oh. Ah. Try to edit that part out for the replay as well. Okay, there we go. That was a challenge there. Let me get the lamp. All right, gang, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Thank you. I'll be posting a shot of Mysterio here on my social media. I'll try to get those links to my social media in the video description below, but you can look me up on Twitter or Instagram as @Todd Nauck, and you can find me on Facebook at The Art of Todd Nauck on Facebook, The Art of Todd Nauck. Just type that into the search string, you should find me. So gang, thank you so much. I hope you had fun drawing with whatever tools you had. That's the most important thing. Draw, have a little fun, and, you know, it's a fun way to entertain ourselves, I think. I know I have fun. It's seeing something come to life on a page. That's why I've been doing it pretty much all my life. I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And today's Friday, so we'll hopefully be able to do another Post-it note sketch on Monday. I hope you have a good weekend. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Just hit that subscribe button, then you can tap that bell and set the notifications to alert you via email anytime I start up a new live stream or schedule a live stream or post a new art video so you don't miss out. And if you liked the video, please leave me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And also feel free to leave a comment in the section below. And that's about it. And also, if you'd like, share my videos with others. If you think there'd be other people, parents, if you know of other parents who have kids who like art and need something to inspire them into an activity, feel free to share my videos with them as well, as we all try to navigate this weird time of going on in the world. Everybody, appreciate all the hanging out. Hope you had a good time. Keep on drawing. Keep having fun. I'm Todd Nauck.